All right, we are live. Andy Bonds, take it away, please.
All right, everyone. Welcome to another Wicked Smart webinar. I am back. I was on vacation 2 weeks ago. If this is your first Wicked Smart webinar, this is something we've been running since March. We bring on experts and coaches and industry leaders to help bring tools and tips and resources to you as business owners so we can help you increase your sales and revenue and increase on how well you could run your business. So I am super excited that you are here, and this is just kind of some housekeeping stuff. This is recorded, so you'll be able to get this probably by sometime midday tomorrow. Keep in mind that we do have all of our Wicked Smart webinars on our YouTube channel, so I encourage you to like and share it once you get all the value out of it today. You can also find all of our previous Wicked Smart webinars on wickedsmartwebinar.com in our blog there. That's something that we knew and changed. So yeah, so if you have questions, feel free to raise your hand and we can open up your mic, or you can type it in the chat box. We want to have this have it be more of a communication or conversation between you and us. So without further ado, I saw the slides already that Scott sent over, and it's gonna be jam-packed. So I am super excited about this topic. This is something I'm super passionate about. I reached out to Scott and we discussed this. I am really excited about him and the value he's going to bring today. He'll talk about things like the possibility of the websites being dead or dying as how we look at them. I think something called the customer journey and a lot of other awesome resources and ideas that he'll bring to you. So Scott, I'll let you take it over because we're going to be pressed for time today. So.
All right, Andy, thanks a lot. Can you guys hear me okay?
You bet.
All right, awesome. So yeah, it is jam-packed. We got lots of slides. So I'm going to roll through these and then let's open it up for questions at the end. So really what I'm going to talk with you about today are 3 marketing secrets, how to increase traffic, leads, and sales without increasing your marketing budget. So if you've been struggling with marketing your business, this is probably why. I mean, it's overwhelming, it's confusing, and without an operating system to manage and guide your digital marketing, either you go down one of 2 paths. You either get stuck and sucked into a shiny object syndrome and try every strategy with nothing kind of working cohesively, or you just don't do really anything because there's so many different options and you get stuck in kind of paralysis by analysis. And so that's really what we're going to discuss today. Now, I'm guessing for a lot of you, this isn't the first time you're watching a presentation about marketing, and I'm not the first guy who's coming in here saying he can help you increase traffic, leads, and sales. First thing I want to mention is that if you haven't had success with marketing your business, it's not your fault. I mean, there's so much information out there. It's really confusing. Many times the information is even outdated, and it really limits your success. And so if you've been concerned that you can't succeed with marketing your business, I want to put those fears to rest. It's really, you can do this. You just need the right person to explain it to you. And so really that's what we're here for. I know you have a dream of building your business and running successful marketing strategy and to make a true and real impact for the people you serve. And in order to accomplish that, well, you need to generate traffic, you need to generate leads, you need to convert that traffic into leads, and you need to make sales. And I want to make sure that you understand how to make that happen in this presentation. So who is this for? This really is going to help 2 different types of people, and they're pretty broad categories. For those of you who are in the process of getting your business up and running, you're going to get a crash course on what works right now so you can get started in the best way possible. For those of you who already have businesses up and running, and maybe you've done marketing in the past and haven't been successful with it, or even if you've been somewhat successful with it, this is going to give you a framework, and it's going to unlock the secrets of how to create that system and framework for driving traffic, converting that traffic into leads, and turning leads into conversations and sales to grow your business. So my goal for this presentation in the next 30 minutes or so is to get you to believe that crafting and implementing a customer value journey is the key to unlock that elusive door of a successful marketing campaign. Even in this trying time of the COVID pandemic, I'm going to show you the frameworks that will make it simple for you to achieve that specific desired end result. So here's how I want you to think about the customer value journey. Think of it kind of like the framework or blueprints and foundation for your business and for your marketing strategy. Not having a customer value journey is kind of like building a house without the blueprints. How many of you would actually build a home that way or want to live in a home that was built in that fashion? It's really a recipe for disaster down the road. Even if it doesn't happen immediately, it's going to happen down the road. So why are having blueprints and a foundation so important? Look at all of these options, and this is just for technology when it comes to marketing your business online. And this is how this has grown over the last 8 years, from 150 options in 2011 all the way up to over 7,000 in 2019. And here it is today. And it's not going to change anytime soon. This is just going to get more and more and more complex as we get more and more in this digital age. And so without a guide or framework, how can you possibly know which tactics you should use? And there are so many to choose from. There's Facebook ads, SEO, Google ads, content marketing, social media, chatbots, local SEO. There's all, depending on what type of business you have, there's so many different tactics that you can have. So how do you know where they fit into the overall strategy? Well, the framework of the customer value journey, and I'm going to refer to it as CVJ just for brevity purposes there. But it gives you the guideposts that you know, so you know exactly which tactics are going to fit into the overall strategy, so you don't get that shiny object syndrome. So you understand, does this, you can make a quick decision. Does this tactic fit inside of the framework that I have? Yes or no. And if it's no, you move on and you don't implement. So without the customer value journey, you operate more like a wandering generality versus a meaningful, specific, and laser targeting in on your goals. And those goals are increasing traffic, converting that traffic into qualified leads, and moving those leads through a specific sales process to grow your business, to grow revenue, whatever those specific goals that you have are. Now, all of this is predicated on you building tremendous value for your target market. Your business has to be value driven and customer centric versus your company centric. And so if you don't have a business where you're creating massive value and willing to serve a specific target market, then no amount of marketing is going to help you in the long run. And, frankly, you shouldn't win in the long run. We want the good companies to win. So that's all of this marketing stuff is predicated on you having amazing service, building amazing value, and serving a specific target market within your niche. Okay. Sorry, we're getting stuck there. All right, my name is Scott R. Wells, and I'm the founder of ConversionFormula. I also run Scott R. Wells Digital Marketing. ConversionFormula, we specialize in digital marketing for the senior living and care industry. Been doing this for about 10 years, and I've had the amazing opportunity to help local businesses, nationwide businesses, and large senior living communities grow through the strategies that I'm about to discuss with you. But it wasn't always that way. Like, just a few short years ago, I was struggling to understand and navigate and figure out this marketing question. My company won an account, a Miller Valentine Group, $100 million corporation with a mix of multifamily, senior living, single family homes in their portfolio. And really, this was our big break as a company. And on the outside, everything looked amazing. Revenue was tremendous, but on the inside, I was feeling a tremendous amount of pressure. I was feeling a tremendous amount of stress and self-doubt, and really questioning how in the hell was I going to pull this off? Because we had a pretty small operation, but things were going well. Things were going really well, and our strategies were working. We were using a lot of search engine optimization strategies. That's kind of where I cut my teeth, and local SEO strategies, building traffic, building leads. Leads were coming in like crazy, and it was off to a great start. Well, then it happened. A Google slap, and I don't know if you're familiar with the Pandan or the Penguin updates, but those are essentially algorithm updates. And when you're relying on one traffic source, these types of updates can be devastating. And so traffic dropped instantly, and it literally shook my world. My client was understandably upset, was threatening to pull the plug. And this obviously wasn't anything that we did aside from being siloed in one particular tactic, which was an error in strategy. And so I had responsibilities to my family, to my employees' family, and to my client to deliver what I said I could. But this was a huge mountain to climb. And really the questions in my head were like, how could Google do this? How could they rip away all my clients' traffic, and then essentially my livelihood all in one little update that hit, and next thing you know, traffic drops. But really you have two decisions at that point. You can, put your head down, or you can, figure out solutions. So I did what any real entrepreneur does, and I went on a mission to find the solutions to my problem and take our power back. And I vowed I would never leave myself so completely vulnerable to Google or any individual traffic source ever again. I also realized that if I didn't find a solution, that my entire life was going to change. How would I look at my wife and kids in the eye? How would I tell my employees I had to let them go? How would I tell my client that only after a few short months, we failed miserably and that was it? Well, then in kind of an epiphany moment, in a moment of desperation, I clicked on an ad from a guy named Ryan Deiss. He's the CEO of DigitalMarketer.com, and he would soon become one of my greatest mentors. And in that process, he was talking about something called the CVO, or customer value optimization, which later evolved into the customer value journey. In that moment, I no longer looked at SEO as a strategy. I looked at it as a tactic. I came to this realization that it was purely a tactic, not a strategy. It was a tool in a bigger tool belt, and it was part of a larger, more comprehensive strategy. And so quickly I became a partner with DigitalMarketer.com, and this was more for the senior living space, but I want you to understand how we apply these principles to a specific industry. We created the resident acquisition model, and this was the first iteration of the resident value journey, which we now leverage 6 years ago. And this strategy was specifically for senior living communities, but like I said, it crosses industry lines. And we implemented this strategy and went on not only to keep the client, but exploded their growth to over 30,000 visitors a month and increased overall occupancy 11%, which I don't have the data in terms of revenue, but when you have 150 communities, that's a huge amount of revenue increase for them, and 11% was a big increase. This was one of those transformational moments in my career where I went from a simple SEO strategist, and then I became a digital marketer, and that was just an amazing point, a turning point in my career. And so after 10 plus years, I discovered the hard way of testing, failing strategy after strategy, but ultimately finding the process known as the customer value journey, or the resident value journey in senior living. And really the customer value journey is just applied to any other industry, but I kind of catered it to the senior living space. And so that process provided me the ability to now bring you the 3 secrets of the customer value journey. So let's dig into those 3 secrets. Secret number 1 is stop assaulting your website visitors. How to create a customer value journey that moves prospects to take action. Secret number 2 is your traditional website is killing your marketing. How to leverage sales funnels and turn your website into a lead producing machine. Secret number 3 is ethically steal traffic from your competitors. How to get traffic that are going to your competitor's website to start coming to yours instead. So, all right. So let's jump into secret number 1. Stop assaulting your website visitors. How to create a customer value journey that moves prospects to take action. So often in business, we like to think of things we like to think of our market in terms of B2B or B2C. And in today's digital age where people expect more, you're not selling B2B or B2C any longer. It's a paradigm that needs to be shifted to H to H. We are all selling human to human. So we need to treat our marketing as such, and there are certain frameworks that we can follow to understand how normal human relationships take place. There's a book written by this guy named Desmond Morris named Intimate Behavior, and he dives into the subject of how human intimacy happens. And this model provides us the framework for how normal human relationships happen and provides a guide for us to follow with marketing. So flow with me here. Let's work through this a little bit. I'm not going to get into every step of his theory. You guys can read on the slide for yourself though, but essentially he explains intimacy happens in 12 different steps. And he also produced 2 fascinating conclusions that we can pull into marketing and leverage as just beacons for our marketing. The first conclusion that he came up with was time is irrelevant. So what does he mean by that? This means you can move very quickly through the different stages, or you can take more time. Time is irrelevant. Time does not matter, but overall, time doesn't matter to the overall success of someone moving through the process of having human intimacy. And it's the same way with marketing. Here is where it gets interesting though. While time is irrelevant, making sure you hit each step of the the 12 steps of human intimacy is extremely vital. If you skip one step, the process essentially halts. And if you skip 2 steps, it's considered assault. Okay. So how do we leverage this for marketing? The same basic tenets are true with marketing. In marketing, we've distilled this down into 8 steps. And I've even further distilled this down into 4 steps in senior living. So we can simplify things a little bit more, but there's 8 steps. A prospect can move very quickly through these steps and become a client in 1 day or an hour, or it can take, 10 days, 20 days. I don't know. It just doesn't matter. But if you're skipping steps in the normal human relationships, you're essentially assaulting your prospective clients. So let me break this down. If you're asking someone to take an action, it could be to purchase or schedule an appointment or buy something right away. And you've provided 0 value up to that point, you're essentially skipping steps in normal human relationships and you're assaulting them digitally. And so, people want value. They want to know you understand them. They want empathy. They want to know that you can build trust with them. And moving too quickly is kind of like asking someone to marry you on the first date. And so aside from that being, incredibly creepy, if someone says yes, you have to wonder what's going on with them to accept such an offer if they're not going through the normal steps. Are we really creating the bond that we need to for a normal customer or client relationship? And so, like I said, some people want to pick up the phone and buy right away, and that's fine. But for the vast majority of others who aren't ready, the customer value journey allows them to move at their own pace, to self-select moving forward from each step to each step. And we don't have to feel pressure to move them quickly or slowly because we have a structure set up that allows them to do that. So let's look at the framework for structuring your customer value journey. Now, you're going to see a lot of the term or the verbiage inside of these boxes is for senior living. And I left it that way on purpose. I want to see I want you to see how my explanation is pulling this concept and then applying it to specific industry. I don't know what industry you all are in. And so that's exactly what you need to do when you understand each one of these steps is how does this apply to my specific business and industry? And so step 1 is awareness. How are you going to create awareness for your business? Think search engine optimization, paid media, local SEO, could be a community event, could be a referral. How will you create awareness that your business even exists? How will you create an awareness that their problem exists? And then how will you create awareness that your solution even exists? And this is really the first step in the customer value journey is to create that awareness. Step 2 is once you've created awareness and a prospect gets to your website or your marketing funnel, we'll discuss that in a little while. How will you engage with them through some type of content? How will you start a conversation with them? And this is done by understanding their desires, their pain, the desired end result that they are seeking, not the desired end result that you want to provide to them. What do they want? How do you get inside the conversation that's happening inside of their head and produce content that is engaging for them? Step number 3 is subscribe. How will you turn those visitors into leads? Now you're changing the relationship. How will you get your visitors to provide you their contact information in exchange for value? So think downloads, quizzes, could be a video series, could be a trial if you have a software product, could be like a 14-day trial or 30-day free trial. It could be a lot of different things. This is done by understanding them at a deep, deep, deep level, knowing them better than they know themselves, knowing the conversation that is happening inside of their own mind better than they do. They're having it subconsciously. You have to be able to extrapolate that out or get inside of their mind to understand what's happening with them, not only to create the content inside of the engage step, but also, okay, how am I going to get them to take the next logical step to give us their contact information? And that's done by understanding them at a deep level. Step number 4 is how do you convert that person into giving and into your elevating the relationship? So how do you persuade those leads to move forward in the process? And that's really done in 2 different sides. Depends on your business. It's either done through a commitment of time or money. And so time could be like for my senior living communities, we want to get someone to come and tour. So getting someone to commit to spending 2 to 3 hours, touring a community, driving there, driving home, it's a huge commitment. It may be even more of a commitment than spending $100 for a lot of people. On the converse side, it may be buying a small product. What we're doing is we're changing the relationship now, right? Now they've become a customer. Now that relationship is elevated. And now we move on to step number 5, where now you have to excite. You have to show them an amazing experience. You got the commitment of time or money now. How will you make their experience unforgettable and get the prospect to decide to now extend and move forward in that purchase and become more of a customer versus just a one-time buying client? Did you excite them with a tremendous amount of value and earn their commitment to move the relationship forward? Step number 6 is ascend. Now that they've moved in, now that they've decided to become a customer of yours, or a client of yours, how do you move them up the value ladder? And I'm going to explain a little bit more into this. I'll go into a little bit more detail with the value ladder. But how do you ascend the relationship? How do you continue to provide more value to those who want more value? So let's take a look at the value ladder. So on one axis, you have value. The other axis, you have price. And the more value you create, the more the price increases. And this allows you to move clients who do want more, who want more engagement from you, who want more value from you, to now move up and become deeper and deeper ingrained into your business, into your company. And so let's take a look at a couple examples here. Here is, and everyone's kind of, I love the dentist value ladder example, because most people have at least been to the dentist, or hopefully you're going to the dentist soon. So this is, and everyone's been in the dentist chair and seen kind of what happens. So they get you into their office with teeth cleaning. And in that process, they obviously get to examine your mouth and figure out what else is going on, and figure out what other plan of action they have for you. What is your treatment plan, they like to call it. So then they go to teeth whitening. Maybe you drink a lot of coffee or tea, or you're a smoker, and okay, now they can get you into teeth whitening. That moves you up the value ladder a little bit more. Maybe your teeth are a little bit crooked, so now they want to give you Invisalign, and now you're up to like the $3,000 level. And then the top level is cosmetic dentistry, where you're spending, who knows, $50,000 on fixing your mouth. So this is, and then they also have the continuity plan, where you get every 6 months you're coming back. Everyone's been in the dentist chair, so you've seen this at work. And so hopefully you can kind of understand how you start to ascend up this value ladder. So this is the structure of the value ladder. At each step of the value ladder, a client increases the price along with the value. And so how does this work for your business? Like, so many times when I'm consulting with businesses, they have one offer. And, one of my mentors always said, one product does not make a company. And so what are the other things that you can offer to extend your ladder, either upwards or downwards? So you can either chunk off pieces of your main product to create free offers or front-end offers, or you can expand that product and create back-end offers. And so this process of ascension begins with the brainstorming piece here. Okay, step number 7 is advocate. Now you have a happy client. How will you proactively strategize to generate positive reviews and testimonials? And waiting for the people to do that is not a very good strategy. Most people won't do it. Most people are gung-ho on giving you negative reviews, but they're not going to go out and give you positive reviews unless there's some type of prompting there. So what is your strategy for actually getting those happy customers to talk? And then finally, step 8 is promote. How will you incentivize raving fans to spread the word about your business? And this is a proactive marketing strategy. Again, that's going to increase referrals and help grow your business. Okay, so that's the customer value journey. So the last step is to mind map out this process for your specific business, for your specific industry. But this is the framework or blueprint for your marketing success. So let's get into secret number 2 here. Okay, your traditional website is killing your marketing. How to leverage sales and funnels to turn your website into a lead producing machine. Now we've already discussed the customer value journey. Now let's look at stages of the customer value journey, where sales funnels can be layered in and leveraged to expand your growth. But first, we need to understand what a sales funnel is and how it kind of differs from your traditional website. So this is your traditional website. I would imagine if I went to all of your websites, this is probably what it would look like. very, call these websites kind of the anti-sales and marketing department. And I'm not meaning that in a disrespectful way. This is just how things have been done. The reality is that when you provide so much information and have so many different options, and people get overwhelmed and confused, and very little leads and sales come from a traditional website. You can analyze this yourself. How many leads are you getting from your website? If it's less than 2%, you have a problem. And so this is one of the main reasons why marketing campaigns fail. You spend serious money to get traffic to your website, and this just kind of kills any momentum you have. And then your digital marketing, it's just not going to work. And then you say digital marketing in general doesn't work, or my business is a little bit different, or my industry, this just doesn't work. I understand it might work for yours, but not for mine. Hear that all of the time. It's just not true. It just needs to be leveraged in a different way. And so your traditional website, when you have something like that, it's kind of like having a salesperson hand a prospect a brochure, and then they step back and hope and pray that the sale gets made and they become a client. Now, how many of you would fire that person immediately if that was their strategy? That salesperson wouldn't last very long in your organization. Of course you'd fire them. But why do we allow our websites to behave like this? Why do we accept this with our websites? We have to do better. Now, we have to be smarter too. And unless you have a ton of venture capital money to burn through and waste, which hopefully isn't the case, we have to be smarter. So when we decide to drive traffic, we must build something where we put $1 in, we get $2 out back in the form of leads, sales, signups, whatever it is. So that's where sales funnels come in. A sales funnel is intentional with design and a thought out process to move prospects through a specific set of actions. So traffic comes in, they go to lead capture, they go through the sales process, order, upsell, and then they're ascending. So a sales funnel is kind of like having your very best salesperson you have, cloning them and making it so that every single person who comes to your website, they grab them, introduce themselves, find out what they're interested in, and guide them through the process. And this is when you transform and find success in digital marketing. So here's a simple sales funnel, lead generation funnel that would live inside of the subscribe step in the customer value journey, or CVJ. And here is the framework to set this up. Essentially, you have to produce a lead magnet or a bait piece. What is something of value that will encourage your prospects to exchange their contact information for this piece of value? This could be a guide, could be gated content, could be a video series, could be some type of content, could be a way to see your pricing guide. It could be, again, this could be a free trial. It could be so many different things. Then you create a simple page in an opt-in form. Next, you set up a thank you page and send them the value that you created. Now you generate a lead through providing value. And the other thing you did is you changed the relationship. Now you've gained permission to now market to them. I mean, do you see how simple we can make this? Sales funnel does not need to be this immense complex thing. It can be a very, very simple value exchange for contact information. 2 simple pages, done. We created something different. So this is a survey funnel. And so you can create a little more complex thing, but this is just like a quiz or a survey funnel. So, and this resides in the engage, subscribe, and convert stages. So you can have a funnel that kind of lives in a few different of the stages. And so you're kind of consolidating those stages, but someone is still going through those processes. And so I'm going to show you kind of a real world example of how we leverage a survey funnel. But essentially, you're just asking some questions and then providing some type of result. You've seen a ton of these on social media. There's a lot of quiz like, what superhero type is yours? I didn't throw up that example. I wanted you to show one that we actually leverage and use very successfully in the senior living space. So this is a sales funnel we leverage with our clients called the Smart Choices tool. It's an interactive questionnaire that asks some basic questions and provides a baseline level of care. We know that many people searching senior care have no idea about the difference between the different levels of care. So independent living up to memory care. It's the lines between those are very blurry. And so we know that they need that question answered. So that's why we created this particular survey funnel. So we find out who this guide is intended for. We ask some intimate questions to gain an understanding of their situation. So we can recommend a level of care. We get their contact information. So now we have permission to market to them and they become a lead. And then we provide a video explaining the level of care recommendation and gently encourage them to schedule a tour. Now, this is part of a larger funnel strategy where then we're communicating with them through emails, and it doesn't need to be this complicated, but this is how you provide value and leverage sales funnel to pull people in so they self-select and say, yes, I want that. I want to be a part of that. I want that information. And now you're allowing people to move at their own pace. You're allowing people to receive the value that they desire. And if you've done a good job with understanding the conversation that is happening in their head, you can easily create things to help move them seamlessly and subtly through the value journey through leveraging sales funnels like this. Okay, this is just about providing more value. Okay, let's get into secret number 3, ethically steal traffic from your competitors. How to get traffic that are going to your competitor's website to start coming to yours instead. So some of you are saying, we get the funnels, sorry, I get the customer value journey, get the funnels. I get 0 traffic to my website. Traffic is always a big issue. And I get it, traffic used to be really complicated, but it's not so much anymore with technology. Remember that? Those slides at the beginning where you see how much technology it is? Well, a lot of those are geared towards traffic. So I love this quote. You can always tell who the pioneers are because they have the arrows in their backs and are lying face down in the dirt. You don't need to be a pioneer in this industry. We want to model what works. We can find what works very simply. And so this idea is highlighted by Tony Robbins. He says, one of the things I'm best at is modeling. I find someone who is best at something I want to learn, then I model them and learn it myself. Then when I've proven it to myself, I teach it to others. We want to follow this mantra and model what works. Notice I said ethically steal. Ethically steal means you're modeling. Copying is not ethical. Copy is wrong and probably criminal, so please don't copy. But if you're not modeling, then you're the ones laying face down in the dirt with arrows in your back, and you probably spend a ton of money. Model what works. So what's the framework for learning how to model? Step 1, identify a competitor who is absolutely killing it. Who's doing really well in your space? Who do you want to emulate because you know that they're doing things the right way? You could do the same thing here with their funnels. If you have people in your industry who are leveraging sales funnels, go through their process. Don't try and be the pioneer and get arrows in your back. Slow it down, go through their process. And if you have to pull out your credit card and buy something from them, that's probably worth getting the market research. Again, we don't want to copy anything. We want to model what we already know works, what is proven to work. So identify a competitor who is doing extremely well, and then take that information, grab their domain name, their URL, go to similarweb.com, put it in there, and it's going to give you all kinds of data about their advertising, what their ads look like, what their copy says, how long the ad's been running. Isn't that crazy, right? So what do you think that tells you if an ad has only been running for a month? Well, I don't want to use that one yet. Let them get the arrows in their back. But what about an ad that's been running for a year? That ad is probably very successful, returns a very positive ROI, and now you have the exact blueprint of what to do. So then you might say, well, I don't have a graphic design team. Okay, well, that's not a good excuse either. Then you just go to $20banners.com and model what their ad looks like. So you get everything created for $20. $20, you can get the data, you can get the banner ads done, and you can have everything done. And then step number 4 is to just go buy ads on the same exact websites that they're receiving their traffic from. This really can be stupid simple. We don't have to make it so complicated. We don't have to look at all of the technology that's out there and get overwhelmed with all the shiny objects. We can simplify this down. We can model the customer, we can mind map out the customer value journey. So I'm just gonna show you the 3 secrets here, and then I'm gonna kind of wrap everything up here. So We have the 3 secrets of the customer value journey. So secret number 1 is stop assaulting your website visitors, create a customer value journey that moves prospects to take action. The process here is brainstorming and mind mapping out a process that's going to work for your company and for your business. How are you going to provide value and make each step of the customer value journey the logical next step? You build awareness. Okay, what's the logical next step as well? It's to have some content that grabs their attention, that communicates something to them, that communicates a problem to them, that gets inside what is happening in their own mind, the conversation happening inside of their own head. When you do that, you're going to engage with them. Then the logical next step is, well, what type of bait piece can I use to pull them further? That's the logical next step. If you do a good job with mind mapping this out, and you typically can work backwards, then you're going to seamlessly and subtly move someone from each stage to the next. So secret number 2 is your traditional website is killing your marketing, how to leverage sales funnels and turn your website into a lead producing machine. The challenge is if you've done a good job with the first phase of this, and then they get to a page where they're bombarded with information and so many different options. This reminds me of going to the Cheesecake Factory. I don't know if they're even still a restaurant anymore, but you open up their menu and it's like 25 pages and every different type of food you can possibly imagine. I shut it and I just ask someone else to order for me because I get overwhelmed. Too much information creates overwhelm. Too much information creates indecision. We don't want indecision when someone comes to your website. We want to make it very simple. Here is your next step. Self-select in or self-select out. Either way is good. If people are all self-selecting out, you know you've got a problem there. You have not mind mapped out this properly. Okay? So leveraging sales funnels can help pull and persuade people through the process. And it's all about providing value. Immense, tremendous value getting inside the conversation that they have. And then secret number 3 is ethically steal traffic from your competitors. I get it. Ethically steal, it's kind of like a hook headline there. But the reality is you should be ethically stealing traffic from your competitors. You're modeling. You're not stealing outright. You're figuring out what works. There is nothing wrong, absolutely zero wrong with figuring out what has already worked. And there's no need to be a trailblazer or a pioneer with arrows in your back. And so that is the goal with this whole process, is to mind map out a big picture strategy, leverage the sales funnels to help move people through that strategy, and figure out what's already working to put people inside the top of that funnel, to get people to come to your website, to come to your pages, to come to your sales funnels. And then that's when you start moving people seamlessly and subtly. That's when you increase leads, you increase traffic, you increase leads, you convert those leads into sales, you have more sales conversations, or if you're an e-commerce site, you have more transactions on your actual website. So listen, I know you probably feel like this right now. That's the way it is. That's the way it goes when you're trying to cover so many different topics or so much different information and frameworks inside of 30 minutes. I honestly don't even know how long I've spoken here. So I forgot to set my timer. So let's open it up for questions. Are you good for that? We good for questions now, Andy?
Yeah, we got about 5 minutes for questions. So
okay.
If you do have a question, either type it into the chat box, or I think there's you can usually raise your hand on the bottom of the screen, and we can unmute your mic if you'd rather talk. But I do have, as we're waiting for questions, I did kind of look up one of the participants here. His name's John. He owns a taxi company called Van Go Taxi. And
John?
Scott, I'm curious on what kind of lead magnet or what process would you take for a non-emergency medical transportation kind of taxi company for the customer value journey?
Yeah, so it's all about digging into their ideal target market, right? That process, I mean, there's some basic lead magnets that you can use, but it is trying to understand who is their ideal customer. Who do they serve? What is happening in their life? What has just happened that they may need this Okay, non-emergency medical transport. So what are the typical situations that these people find themselves? And when you go through that process of identifying your ideal customer, you're going to start to see what they want and what they need. And when you go through that process, it starts to uncover, you're kind of looking at it, it looks like this barren desert. And then when you start going through the process, it starts shifting all the sand away, blowing all the sand away, and you find this oasis where you see exactly what you need. And ultimately, this is all about, again, I've said this a bunch of times, and I'm going to continue to reiterate it. It's understanding who you serve. How can you provide more value? So what is that next step that they need? Is it, it could be finding out where are they typically going? Why are these things happening? What situations are they finding themselves in? And that's the process of understanding the exact lead magnet that you're going to need. So without getting into the actual specific one, because I've never worked in that space, so I honestly don't know what lead magnet they need, but that's the process that you go through. Identify your target market, get inside the conversation that they're having in their head. What do they need at the next step? And why are they actually performing this action?
Cool.
Got it.
TK, did you see any questions come through yet?
No, it doesn't look like it, so I think we can wrap it up.
Okay, cool. Well, we do have about 4 minutes left, but if you do have a question, you can go ahead and chime in. I do want to talk about next week, though. Next week, actually not next week, 2 weeks from now, we have our next Wicked Smart webinar. We're bringing on an expert. Her name is Rachel Minion. She's the founder of Rockstar and Moon. Her topic is going to be 4 steps to maximize your Rockstar marketing team, even if it's smaller than you'd like it to be. And I'm really excited about this topic because it seemed, I bet most businesses are trying to do more with less, and specifically do more with your budget, do more with your team. And a lot of times you have a leaner team now than you may have had 9 months ago. So I am excited to bring Rachel on, and she's going to talk about kind of like what the modern marketing team should look like. And it's vastly different than what it looked like 10 years ago, and how to optimize and do a great job with what you have, and help to drive marketing and sales and leads from an internal perspective, kind of complement what Scott talked about today from an outside perspective, or kind of like a external marketing perspective. So I am super excited for her to bring her on. This is the kind of stuff I'm really excited about. You can wrap your arms around it. We do have internal experts here at Midwest Family that can kind of walk you through this kind of stuff. It helps to have an outside expert take a look at your business, because sometimes when you're inside the bottle, it's hard to read the label. So, and we can be that kind of outside resource for you and help you along. So I don't see any other questions out there, so we'll end a few minutes early. Scott, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. There's a lot of value packed into this 45 minutes. If you want to find this will be on YouTube, it'll be on our blog, and eventually we're going to do a podcast and use all these past episodes and turn them into podcasts. So thanks a lot, Scott.
My pleasure. Take care, Andy. Take care, Teresa. Bye.